Welcome back. Today I'll show you how I use inexpensive rebar to make garden stakes that last pretty much forever. I first saw this method of staking used when we lived in the Caribbean. Our friend Teresa staked all her tomatoes with rebar, as rebar was affordable and common. I've borrowed her method and have had great success with it. Here's how we do it. The first thing I did was to buy some 20-foot lengths of half-inch rebar and have them all cut in half at the hardware store, so they fit in my fashionable yet utilitarian 2006 Ford Econoline van. After a pleasant drive home, I put my 10-foot rebar pieces on my work table, lined them up, and measured 4 foot up from the ends and marked a line. Then I used an angle grinder to cut through the rebar pieces. You don't have to cut all the way through, just about halfway or so, and then you can bend and break the rebar. This gives us a set of 4-foot stakes for shorter plants and a set of 6-foot stakes for taller plants. At this point, you could just go use the rebar in your gardens. However, this is YouTube, and things have to look unreasonably nice so people don't judge you. So I used a wire wheel to clean off the little bit of surface rust, then I laid out my rebar pieces and painted them. The paint I'm using is a higher quality type that is both a primer and a finish coat. My wife Rachel picked the color. Once the bars are all spray painted, I let them dry well, then flipped them over and painted the other sides. Then it was time to head to the garden. The 6-foot stakes are for the tomatoes. When hammered about 18 inches into the ground, they are perfect for tying up plants. These tomato plants should have been supported from the beginning. Tying them up is now much more difficult because they got big without support. Do as I say, not as I do. Put in stakes early and often. Rachel is using pieces of rag for tying the tomatoes up because they're easier on the stems than using twine. For extra care in windy areas, you can wrap a bit of the stake where the tomato is going to be and wrap the stem as well so the tomatoes don't get abraded by the rebar. But enough about the tomatoes. Let's stake up some peppers with the shorter rebar pieces. Some of our peppers are leaning over as they bear, falling sideways into the beds and the paths. A nice little piece of rebar is just what the doctor ordered. And the green we painted them is so pretty. Look, Martha, look how pretty these are. Pin it, folks. Pin it. Go right now to Pinterest and pin it. Pin it, pin it, pin it. Pin these rebar stakes. They're amazing. DIY garden hack, rebar stakes. Anyhow, we've had great luck with rebar stakes. They work well, they last for a long, long time, and they're inexpensive. Finally, if you're afraid of poking yourself on a stake, you can just put those little rubber ends on them for safety's sake. We don't because we're cheap. But we could if we wanted to, and we probably should for YouTube so people don't think that we're just gonna fall and impale ourselves. But we didn't have them at the time of the video, so why bother? Anyhow, we're telling you about it now, so you can do it if you want to. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and come back for lots of good gardening tips. Until next time, may your thumbs always be green.